So this PowerPoint presentation is day 6 and it's the second part of Unit 2, Understand the Principles and Values in Health and Social Care, Adult and Children and Young People, Early Years and Childcare. And it's part of the Level 1 certificate in the Introduction to Health, Social Care and Children and Young People's Settings. And by the end of today's session, you will know ways to respect and value those who access services in health and social care, including adults and children and young people, early years and childcare. As always, remember to look out for the boxes on each of the slides to inform you of which question the slide relates to. The next few slides relate to question number 1, and we're going to start by looking at person-centered practice. And person-centered practice is about listening to a person's needs, their wishes, their likes and dislikes, and understanding the importance of meeting their individual needs, which is right for them. So by using person-centered practice or child-centered practice, the needs and choices of an individual are seen as very important. And this is very different to not having person-centered practice. And what that means is, so people will be cared for and they'll receive a service, but it's not always about meeting their individual needs. So it's not always about person-centered practice. So for example, you would wash a person every morning, that you would get them out of bed before you give them that wash. So you might get them up at 7 a.m. in the morning to give them the wash, when actually when they were living at home, they were used to getting up at 9 o'clock. When you're giving somebody a wash, you might just bath everybody, but actually individual people might prefer to take a shower as opposed to having a bath. You will feed everyone, give everybody breakfast. You might give somebody Weetabix when actually, when they lived at home, they preferred cornflakes. So the person-centered practice is about finding out what their needs, their wishes, their likes and dislikes are, and knowing the importance of this. And child-centered practice, it's the same as person-centered practice, and it's about the individual care and learning of children, of their needs are met in a way that is best for them. And we often think about children not having a voice. We tell children what they need to do, but it's important that we find out what their likes are, what their dislikes are, giving them choices, and that's that child-centered practice. Children do have a voice. They are able to express their, ask questions and express their concerns. So for example, a doctor in a hospital asking a child if they wanted their medicine in liquid or tablet form, and both are suitable, but you're giving that child a choice. So you're making the choices in their care. The doctor is valuing the opinion of the child and respecting their wishes, their individual wishes. So you'll see on this slide, we're looking at some person-centered care troubleshooting. So sometimes you have to think outside the box. So if you're working in a nursing home where every service user needs personal care and a member of staff has called in sick, you may have to think of different ways to meet their individual needs and get them ready in time for breakfast being served in the lounge. So you may only have time to clean one area of each person's body before getting them to the lounge for breakfast. So think about this just for a few minutes. If which area would you clean? Think about which area would you prefer to have washed before you go and have your breakfast. So would it be your face? Would it be down below, your personal areas, hands, your arms, your neck? There's no right or wrong answer here. We just want you to, we want our own needs and wishes. So what we're saying here, if you're in a rush and on that day you're short staffed, you need to just quickly clean somebody, you need to ask them which part would you prefer to be cleaned. And I think for me, I think I would like to have my hands washed. So if I'm going to be eating my breakfast, I'm feeling that my hands are clean. when I'm eating. So what is personal care? So personal care is a broad term used to refer to supporting with personal hygiene and toileting, along with dressing and maintaining your personal appearance. So it can cover things like bathing and showering, and this can include bed baths where you will, you will give someone a bath because they may be unable to actually get out of bed to have that bath. We're going to look now at privacy and dignity. So privacy is about giving someone the space where and when they need it. And dignity is focusing on the value of every individual. So this includes respecting their views, their choices, their decisions, not making assumptions about how they want to be treated. And like I mentioned before, not just assuming that somebody wants to take a bath when actually they prefer to take a shower. Working with care and compassion and communicating directly with the individual whenever possible. And again, by asking them questions, and that will help with their dignity. So privacy and dignity is at the centre of a person's well-being, and as far as possible, you should get to know each individual that you're going to be working with. You should get to know their background and ideas, their wishes, their likes and their dislikes. And this can come with time. However, if you are new to the role, if you were covering for somebody, we're going to look at care plans, but there are ways of finding out about individuals' needs. You should always provide personalised care and support that puts an individual at the centre of their care. You should enable them to be as independent as possible and respect their privacy and dignity. And this independence could come from, if you are giving somebody, supporting somebody with a bath or a shower or a bed bath, help them to be as independent as possible. Give them the flannel, get them to wash themselves under your supervision, but you're going to give them when you're dressing somebody, let them put their own clothes on. You might need to support that, but as much as possible, let them be independent. And this is about knowing what they are capable of doing, again, by finding out about that individual person. So working in a way that reduces the risk of an individual being treated in a way that is degrading or harmful. And dignity also, when you are bathing somebody, when you are showering them, helping them to get dressed, you need to do this in a dignified way also. And you'll see here there are some examples of ways that we should protect privacy, and we're going to respect their privacy. So always ask individuals before touching them in any way, and that comes round with down to communication, but asking them, knock on the door to speak before you enter their particular space or room that they're in. If your role involves supporting individuals to wash or dress, make sure you protect their dignity and privacy. Like I mentioned earlier on the other slide, make sure the curtains are closed, the screens or the doors are properly closed. And if it's the clothing is a hospital gown, make sure that's arranged in a dignified way also, because some of the hospital gowns, they're tied at the back, and then the back is open, so you could ask, help them to put the dressing gown over the top of their over the gown, so that you're covering up their privacy. How do we promote dignity? So it's really important that all individuals are fully involved in any decisions that affect their care, including their personal decisions such as what they want to eat, what they want to wear, what time do they go to bed, and wider decisions about their care or support. Thinking about what time they go to bed. Obviously, you can't, everyone can't go to bed at the same time, because that's just not supporting individual needs. Some people might go to bed earlier than others, so again, we promote their dignity by them being involved in these decisions. There are some times when an individual may not be able to understand or be able to make a decision or communicate their choice. If this is the case, they may lack the mental capacity to make the decision. So the individual may be able to make day-to-day decisions, for example, what to wear and what they want to eat, but not always able to make complex decisions. So, for example, about their money or their medical issues. So you need to know these things again about those individuals. So we're going to look at a lack of privacy and dignity, and here are some examples. So a lack of thought given to help people with their personal appearance. Again, it's really important that you find out, if somebody likes to wear makeup, it's important that you know that, and they want to feel, their personal appearance needs to be about who they are. The attachment of labels to older people. So you sometimes hear people being called bed blockers or geriatrics, and they're really not nice labels to put onto people. Exposing a patient's naked body to strangers or to other patients when using a hoist. Again, we talked about dignity before, and this is a lack of it. Not asking the person how he or she would like to be addressed, so thinking about the name. Mixed sex wards, so having male and female within wards. A lack of thought being given to the gender of the carer, and mixing tablets into food, so if they declined it, it's their choice. So this is a video clip that you will need to click onto the link, and it's about a girl called Sophie Wilson. She's a young lady who broke her neck and damaged her spinal cord, so is paralysed. Sophie's video demonstrates the importance of promoting independence when providing care. It's so important to focus on what the person can do rather than doing everything for them and presuming they cannot do things for themselves, which we talked about earlier. So watch the video. It's a short clip. Watch the video, and if you want to discuss this with the others in your group, absolutely fine, and find out any opinions or your thoughts on the video. So the next 5 slides, there are different scenarios that have a look at each one, and just have a think about how you would give person-centered support to the adults, the children, the young people. Make some notes. It will help you develop your understanding further, because when you're working in the care environment, you can come across some situations. So just have a think about what you might do, and then there's a slide at the end which gives some more thoughts on each one as well. So Abdul is living in the community and needs daily home care as he has a physical disability. He also uses a wheelchair. Abdul needs support with his personal care. However, he cannot be washed and dressed by a person of the opposite sex. Abdul is a Muslim and likes to pray 3 times a day, but he cannot get on the floor on his prayer mat due to his physical disability. So I want you to think about that and give some examples of ways that staff can show they respect and value Abdul. Again, write some notes down and or paper or computer or in your phone, whichever is easiest for you. Scenario number 2. Jack is a resident at Crescent Care Home, and John is his birth name, but he likes to be known as Jack. Jack has specific dietary requirements, is a vegetarian, and also has a nut allergy. So give examples of ways that staff can show they respect and value Jack. Scenario number 3 is Anne is a resident at Bredbury Care Home. Anne used to be a head teacher before she retired and has since developed dementia. Anne can be very bossy due to her past career, and she shouts a lot thinking she is at school. The staff often ask if they can leave Anne in her room because she is disruptive. Give examples of ways that staff can show they respect and value Anne. Scenario number 4 is Adam. He attends Sunday nursery and he's 3 years old. Adam often gets angry and hurts the other children. He also hits out at the staff, and there does not appear to be any triggers of this. The parents of the children often complain about this behaviour. Some of the staff feel Adam should be excluded and have one-to-one play in another room. So give examples of ways that staff can show they respect and value Adam. And finally, scenario number 5 is a school is running a summer fair to raise funds and everybody is invited to contribute to the stalls. Ali, Mohammed and Nargis want to come, but their parents are concerned there will be egg in the cakes provided by other parents and therefore want a notice sending out to the other parents that all cakes must be egg-free in line with their religious dietary requirements. They said it would be unfair otherwise, as their children couldn't attend if the cakes contain egg. Give examples of ways that staff can show they respect and value Ali, Mohammed and Nargis and their parents. So here's some feedback, and this will support the feedback, the ideas that you've come up with. So Abdul is entitled to have a carer who is the same sex to wash and dress him. Adaptations would need to be made so that he can pray. He could sit on a chair to do this. Jack, so he has the right to be given food that meets his dietary requirements. This includes vegetarian and the need to ensure he's not given anything that could affect his nut allergy, as this could be fatal. The staff need to ensure that in his care plan, people are aware that he likes to be referred to as Jack. Anne, she should not be left in her room. She may need a care worker to sit with her at times, but she shouldn't be left in her room on her own. Adam may need additional support. He will need to be assessed by an outside agency to see what additional support might be needed to support his development. However, he should not be excluded from the other children. And finally, Mohammed, Ali and Nargis and their parents need reassurance. The school will need to ensure that the ingredients of all food is labelled, so that will cater for anyone who does have an allergy to certain types of food. Okay, so this brings you to question number 1, and you need to outline what is meant by person-centred practice or child-centred practice. Okay, so to outline, please ensure you write in sentences and develop a paragraph of at least 2 to 3 sentences. Think about the slides that we've just looked at, and you can use those ideas. Remember to put things into your own words. So you can pause the video here now and answer question number 1. Okay, so the next few slides relate to question number 2, and we're going to start looking at confidentiality in health and social care. So confidentiality means keeping private information safe and only sharing this information with people who need to know. It's important that you understand the need to know. So for example, those who are involved in health and care needs of children and adults. In adult care settings, confidentiality means that the carer should keep details secret between themselves and the service user. This means that the carer shouldn't tell anyone what a service user has said or their details other than those who need to know, unless someone is in danger. So what that means is, obviously when you're working in health and social care, you will find a lot of information about the service users that you're working with, lots of personal information, confidential information. So it's important that you don't go home and tell your family, your partner, your friends. It's really important that you follow. There'll be procedures in place for confidentiality. You follow those procedures. You are professional, and where it says you only tell people who need to know, those who need to know, that's important. If someone is in danger, you'll have procedures also in place, and they will be other people there who you can tell because they will need to know. And that could be, the danger could be safeguarding, which we will look at in more detail in I know we've talked about it already, but we're going to look at it in more detail on other units. So it's the same in children and young people's and adult settings. So all the care environment, it's exactly the same at confidentiality. You only share with people who need to know. So confidentiality is kept when people working in health, social care and childcare know how to keep the information private. Information must be stored privately, and this could be by, for example, using a password protected on a computer, locking the information in a cupboard. It could be a filing cabinet, but it needs to be in a locked cupboard. When you work in health and social care and childcare, you may need to know about a person's family background, health, or financial situation. In health and social care settings, confidentiality means that the practitioner should keep a confidence between themselves and the patient as part of a good care practice. This means that the practitioner shouldn't tell anyone what a patient has said and their details other than those who need to know. Again, you'll see on most of these slides, it's keeping information confidential but only sharing with the people who need to know. Confidentiality is an important principle. It enables people to feel safe in sharing their concerns and to ask for help. However, the right to confidentiality is not unconditional and there are limits to what we can keep secret. So sharing relevant information with the right people at the right time is vital to good safeguarding practice. So somebody might tell you something and they might ask you not to tell somebody else. Now, if it's if it's something that's going to harm that individual, something that you need to protect that person, if they ask you to keep it secret, you can't. You've got to be honest with them and tell them you will only tell the people who need to know. It's important because the settings that you were working in will have safeguarding procedures, and the people who you're working with, the families, the service users, will know what your procedures are. They will be told, and they'll know that you've got safeguarding officers in place and they're there to support individuals. And so, yeah, it's really important that you don't tell them you can keep it secret. If you do tell them you can keep it secret and then you tell somebody else, the right person, to pass it on for safeguarding, they're not, that person who you've said will keep it secret, you've gone behind their back. You've not been honest with them because you know you can't keep it a secret. So it's about honesty and letting them know. So confidentiality means not telling anyone what you have been told by a teacher, a student, or a parent unless you have their permission, their knowledge, or if you think that a child may be in danger. So this brings you to question number 2. You need to use sentences to develop a paragraph and define confidentiality in the context of adult, young people's early years and children's sectors. So ensure, when you've looked through the slides, look at the ones and see with adult, young people, early years and children's sectors. Ensure you define it based on all sectors in health and social care to meet the criteria. And there's a top tip, so think about the limitations of confidentiality and develop this in your answer. And if you're not sure, you can always ask your tutor. So you can pause the video here now and answer this question. Okay, so we're going to now look at slides relating to question number 3. And we're going to look at the benefits of confidentiality. So what are the benefits? Well, it builds trust. People feel they can talk to you. If they know you're going to be professional, they know they can have confidence in you and keep things confidential, then it will build that relationship and that trust. It promotes a safe environment, so they know their details, their data, their thoughts, their opinions are not going to be handed out or judged. It promotes self-esteem, so it makes people feel confident, and it supports relationships. It is, it's a good basis for a positive relationship, as people will feel trustworthy of us, safe around us, and confident to speak to us as professionals. And if there are things going on in that individual's life, they feel they can share that information with you, and they know they will get the right support to help them. It shows understanding of an individual's wishes. It follows the settings, values and principles which we've looked at on the last session, and it all also allows people to decide what information is shared with others. Okay, and this brings you to the final question, question number 3, and you need to identify how confidentiality promotes respect for and values individuals. You must include 4 examples in your answer. So be mindful of that. 4 examples. And to identify, please ensure you use a supporting sentence. And if you're not sure, you can ask your tutor. So you can pause that the video here to answer this question. And now you've finished the session, you should know ways to respect and value those who access services in health and social care, adults and children and young people, early years and childcare.